So now, in this session, I would like to invite an open conversation where we have quick comments where people talk about what we can do practically within all the different areas that we talked about. We had suggestions about better measurement of Target 4.7, engagement with the elders, gamification as a part of learning, the SDG Learn platform, the 1% movement and more effective financing, better policies for human trafficking, the power of digital media and universities as hubs of learning and innovation. So these are the ideas that have been thrown out there throughout the day. Now is the time to brainstorm and work together to bring them to life. So for the next half an hour, we will have 20 minutes? 25 minutes. We will have 15-second comments to keep them short, and I will step in after 15 seconds and interrupt. So just let's keep it short and bounce back and forth. And I want to also encourage the people who haven't spoken yet to also speak up. And with that, no more explanation about the organizations, but rather just the ideas of how to bring this to life. With that, I open the floor. Comments? Questions? Let's go. Julia.
Recommendation, continue to create space like these where different generations can interact and continue to bring the young people, the elders, and everyone at the table.
Great. Clayton.
Yeah, so I have a white paper that myself and Chris just wrote about using elements of biomimicry in your organizing as a way of saving resources and really streamlining your work. If anyone wants it, just tell me and I'm happy to send it to you. Thanks.
So I mentioned earlier how I do a lot around digital media, and it seems like several of us do. We have to connect, those of us who are here. And the other thing is, this symposium has gone on for several years. We need to use the Facebook group and stay connected, continue to work together after this conference and mentor each other.
Through the conversation, I've heard many times that we were actually catering for communities. I would have loved to hear more of these voices, you know, directly the children from the forest. They could be in this room. We could have some of your communities already involved yes, just to bring these voices from the bottom as well. I mean, there's this idea of bottom-top approaches, and I think really the people we believe we are catering to should be voices in this assembly.
Yeah, as we said, we tried to get a few more people from more difficult countries, but unfortunately they didn't get their visas. So a lot of times it's always the same people because we don't have, usually it's like we don't even have enough time for them to prepare properly. So this was decided in, I think, after mid-August. So it's always unfortunate at the last minute, and it's really hard. Sorry.
This is, I think, my third or fourth year here, and each year has been absolutely spectacular. And when I look at what the alum are doing, many aren't here, but are doing things even more, if not more impactful than what I'm doing. And I would love to see maybe a side event every year where we could just openly invite all alum to come to Rome, not in the Vatican even, to get together and exchange ideas, because even online we've continued these amazing friendships and working relationships. And I think it'd just be a great opportunity to not plug this up with old people and alum. Well, I don't know, old people might not be the right word, but with alum. Returners. Yeah, returners, and give more people the opportunity, but continue to connect.
Amen.
Yes, since all of us are from different backgrounds and expertise, so I believe that this could be one of the wonderful opportunity for all of us to have a strong bonding and a partnership with each and every one of us to make sure that we can achieve the SDGs by 2030.
just really quick about the kind of the visas. The reality is even if we got visas for everybody, conference rooms aren't big enough. So I would love to kind of put the challenge to this room of how we can partner with SDSN for this upcoming UNGA to create the largest ever 100% online conference that then doesn't bar access for kids, for people with disabilities, for everybody else who can't join. So I'd love to brainstorm with any and all of you on that and partner with you on that.
I just want to say, we also had a conference last year with indigenous peoples, and they came from all over, and many from the Amazon. And then we tried to get their inputs on the final statement, but it was really hard. They didn't send them. So then they actually need somebody over there who kind of tries to integrate what because they gave up. And we tried to get their comments and everything, but at a certain point we had to close the document. So it's a shame. I see that here, when we do have minority representatives, unfortunately I don't know, maybe they see it as too complex, or they think that their voice will not be heard.
Thank you. So I also think that as we are doing the mobilization of the resources, we should also be looking at mechanisms to access the fund. And we shouldn't wait for all the fund to accrue before we start disbursement. We can start small once the money comes in. So, yeah.
I think it's not a right of our generation to define what is on this earth. It's our duty, because otherwise we won't have a future to defend, and we want the help of all of us, the help of all of you, because we want a future, a better future for Africa, for Europe, for America. But without you, without the help of all of us, nothing will change, and I want a better future. I want the things to change. Like the young people of all over the world of Africa, we don't have the opportunity to express our opinion like me in this moment. Please help us, because if we don't help us now, we will be forced to change the things. We, the youth. Thanks.
I want to send a large message out to everyone in this room that if we keep coming to these conferences, we must practice what we preach. We are getting on planes. We are spending a lot of money. Buy carbon offsets. Tell the organizations that you're working for or sponsoring you that you want them to make that sustainable choice for you when you come, and publicize that, put that on the internet and show that you're being responsible, because a lot of people can turn to you and say, you're being a hypocrite by going to that. I understand it's part of our system, but we have a responsibility to everyone to be those leaders and show people what we want. Thank you.
Yeah, to add to that, I think the cliche is so true that just by being here today, and with privilege comes responsibility. So when you do go to these conferences, make sure that you get the input from the grassroots level before you even show up, so that you're truly representing them. And after the event, make sure that although you're tired and you probably need to catch up on some sleep, that you continue the work by just spreading what you've learned, sharing those the takeaways and the knowledge that you've gained, and make those connections so that it has, you really make it meaningful beyond just showing up here.
Hi. Being an artist, I would like to volunteer myself to empower youth and household women to earn basic wages through art and help the misguided youth to a prosperous and healthy lifestyle, and art can be a vital role in this. Thank you so much.
A lot of our organizations have hubs and different associations on the ground, so all those hubs have to work together. Great ideas require excellent execution, and that entails a lot of collaboration and cooperation and coordination. Friendship Ambassadors Foundation has just launched our Global Action Impact Network, and we look forward to working with you guys out in the field.
Great, Karen.
We can also calculate how much is our footprint for coming here. So each participant could plant the trees that would be the amount of carbon we are emitting for coming here. And also we can think about on a platform that could teach the youth to how to get involved in policies, how the political their own countries function, and how they can get more involved.
Great. Ben?
To synthesize politics, science, and art, in the words of Martha Jeffries, I think sums up what's going on, and we have the opportunity here very well to do. What I'm hearing lack is a toolkit for the 4.7 specifically. If there's an opportunity to do that and bring that forward, that would be excellent.
On that, we'll have to wait for the pilots to get started and finish, but yes, certainly. Just those who haven't spoken yet, I would really love to hear from you and get your perspectives. Ijun, and then Ilya, and then Dios.
Thank you. You are all doing incredible work, but this is not the audience that needs to hear it the most. Let us take extra care to make sure we're not preaching to the choir. The war for sustainable development will be won by enlisting new battalions and not by remaining in our closed circles. Thanks.
Great. Thank you. Ilya.
Yeah, thank you so much for the time, for allowing us to come here. I think it was a really, really interesting conversation I had with all of you today. To me, this is very much a stepping stone to a much deeper collaboration with a lot of you. I don't think necessarily that there's a deficit of will in this room, and I think we should definitely leverage that going forward. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Yes.
Hi, my name is Deu Sanchez. I'm one of the millions of Mexicans that will smile even when we have problems. I worked for government for the state of Guerrero for 3 years. The thing where I was and I would do all possible for change a life for better, life or other people who need it, help. And I'm saying that not as an ex-government worker. I want to go back on the time, and I want to say that as a student who lost his father for insecurity situation. My father disappeared 5 years ago, and I had to face the worst situation of my life. I have to affront the sadness of the most amazing and hard worker woman, my mother. God improved us to forgive, and I choose that I have hate on myself. But I started to wonder to myself what to do to make the difference and how to avoid other people to have the same situation as me. That's why I started with a civil association with the name Manos y Voces por Ellos. I know I won't change the world, but I'm changing my world, because this is giving me peace and this is giving me hope. Everyone says that natural resource spending is the most tragical thing that can be happening to us, but I consider that the most regrettable expensive is human research. Most of the people lack the rescue or human research, be supportive, because only as a united and supportive society we can save our planet. Thank you, all of you, for giving me ideas, for inspire me and for inspire others. I'm sure that if our voices can have an impact on 1, 5, or 1,000 of people, we have to take this advantage of that ability to share positive message, to take action, to improve others, to keep going, to keep dreaming. Doesn't matter which situations they are having. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that story. Speakers, comments? Rost.
I think very few problems that we see right now in the world are unique, in the sense that I think you see the same problem popping out in many, many places around the world, and technology provides incredible solutions. The one thing I've seen is innovative and entrepreneurs solve it, trip over the same types of problems, eventually reach the goals. I think it would be an incredible thing if we could kind of have a Google for social innovation that was really tailored to the space, that allowed people to search for a specific kind of project done somewhere in the world the kind of problems it faced, and what kinds of steps they took to really solve it, it would save tons and tons of money and time, where people keep reinventing the wheel over and over. And a company like SAP sitting there, use your databases.
Oh, okay, great. Anna, Ishel, and Chris.
So in the spirit of sharing common practices about what you were mentioning, in Mexico we are trying to create a map in which we are facilitating to all the youth-led initiatives separated by SDG. So they are able to identify the possible allies for their own projects, and maybe it would be awesome to escalate that to an international level.
Ishel.
Sí, yo quería puntualizar la importancia de no olvidar que las acciones que se hagan o que no se hacen tienen impactos en la vida de las personas, y estas vidas no son en abstracto, tienen un género, y es en los países del tercer mundo donde se están librando estas batallas con más agresividad, y es en los cuerpos de las mujeres y en nuestras vidas en donde están recayendo estas batallas. No podemos olvidar y negar una realidad en la que a las mujeres nos están violando, nos están matando y nos están desapareciendo. Estoy hablando de una cuestión genocida, 9 mujeres por día en México, y una violación sexual cada 2 minutos no es algo que se pueda tomar a la ligera, y que me parece que esta perspectiva y este análisis de la violencia y de género tiene que cruzar todos los proyectos que aquí se plantearon.
I just want to express my gratitude to each and every one of you for sharing your thoughts. Each one of us lives in a community, and I'm committing to going back to my mayor and elected council to debrief on everything that I've been able to scribe and write down. I think it is our obligation to not just speak to our elected officials, but try to convene or host a convening within your community to share and continue this dialogue back in our local communities. And lastly, hopefully you can join me in committing to one day running for office and being part of the decision makers to solve this problem and make a future that we want. Thank you.
Thank you. Great, great. Thank you. Professor Bettino.
Hi, thanks for having me here. I just wanted to say that if you are a founder working in the field, pursuing the entrepreneurial method, which I would define as relentlessly focusing on a customer or a user or beneficiary and creating value for that person or group of people, I would be happy to work with you, coach, help in any way that I can. So please reach out to me, don't hesitate. I have many thoughts, but I just want to focus on this one thing. I think we should not talk about the next generation. I think we should agree to talk about the now generation. That includes all of us, right, of what any age. I'm not sure that the age focus is beneficial. And I also think the future orientation of everything that we talk about may be handicapping the very achievable short-term goals that will roll up to that. And again, I'm an outsider. I don't really know how this all is structured or whatnot. I'm just going based on the articulations that I've heard today. But I think it's very powerful about how you frame things and the short-term gains that you can achieve, and possibly more unification about that messaging. So take a crazy example of how you could unify one message across all of your channels. Pick a problem. I think you stated a problem earlier, Sam, which was how do I localize? What's my localization challenge and how do I do that? Appoint and anoint people, right? We heard about stodgy universities from someone. I'm from Harvard. I totally agree, it's stodgy. I also entirely disagree, right? Because universities reinvent themselves, but universities are not single entities, right? Universities are multiversities. They have lots of stakeholders and they all have different interests. Again, the entrepreneurial method, focus on the people that you want to influence. At the universities, the most powerful people are the alumni. They have money. You can also focus on the students. They're free agents, right? Focus on the students, they can change things. Or find the subversive people in the universities. They exist. I was one when I started entrepreneurship education there, and they didn't want it. So it is possible, but you need to focus on people, right? That's the key. And you have the power of brand. Anoint people, appoint people, give them some invite power, and things will happen at the educational level. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Professor.
Hola, ahí está. Para agregar que sería importante pensar en el año que viene, hay 2 actividades convocadas en el marco, obviamente, de este contexto del Vaticano, y uno es la convocatoria del Papa Francisco a Asís a pensar una economía con alma en un modelo como el de Asís. Me parece que es importante contemplar esa posibilidad en donde no solamente participen empresarios y economistas, sino que participen trabajadores y víctimas de esta economía. Y también hay un espacio convocado a la formación. Aquí charlamos mucho sobre la instrucción, la formación, los ambientes universitarios y también la educación no formal. Debería estar contemplado como espacios para aportar en el marco de estas metas, en el marco de este simposio y del año que viene, en donde no solamente se convoca ya a los que tienen la responsabilidad, a los líderes, sino que se convoca a las bases. Lo importante es pensar eso. Cuando a veces el cambio no viene de arriba, puede venir desde abajo y es más fácil pensar desde las periferias. En este caso, las periferias existenciales y las periferias territoriales. Muchas gracias.
We'll go to Zan and Rogelio. Please keep your comments very, very brief. We're running out.
Go ahead.
Okay, thanks. Climate change is not only a threat in itself, it threatens to derail all of the progress made so far on all of the SDGs, where it's poverty, trafficking, refugees, whatever you're working on, climate change will make it worse. Everyone needs to get on board with climate action. We need systemic change. I want to echo again that we really need political change. And politicians have an incentive to listen to young people. The amazing young people in this room, they will very likely listen to you. I urge everyone to get involved in advocacy. I'm working on this with the Climate Reality Project. They have resources to help people with that in every country. Please, everyone, get on board. The world needs your help. Thank you.
Okay, quickly, food for thought. How can we integrate youth safely and effectively in the policy-making process globally to achieve the SDGs on time? And also I make a call to don't be afraid of being disruptive and work to change the rules.
Thank you. Great. Just 2 more comments and then we've got to wrap up. Very brief. Those who haven't spoken, yes? 1 more?
Just to very quickly pick up on what Beth and Carolina said, obviously carbon offsets if you are flying, but if you live in Europe and or anywhere that you can travel by public transport to international conferences, please try and do so. If we don't attempt to live that change that we want to see, there's very little chance that anyone else is going to. I've actually got to go because I've got to get a bus to London, so thank you.
Great, thank you. Okay, and I have some wonderful news here, which is that we have had 3.9 million impressions on Twitter through the hashtag, and is that 100,000 reach? No, 500,000 reach on Twitter. So congratulations, well done. Okay, thank you very much. Just to quickly summarize, it is to continue the conversations. There's a white paper that Clayton will be looking at to continue to engage on Facebook and continue to post opportunities and linkages, to think about the ideas of a side event to allow for others to engage and really galvanize the community more. Bringing more younger generations from more grassroots organizations here, but also for looking at online avenues and digital avenues as a conference for sustainable development, so that we can not just reach the people in the room, but also globally. better reflection on social media, and I think we really have achieved that goal, so congratulations on that. You know, there was a lot of talk about the carbon footprint and making sure that we are reflecting that and practicing what we preach, and suggestion was to plant more trees. The idea of a toolkit for 4.7, which we're developing, there is a real need and urgency for that, and also the measurement process of global citizenship education. I think the wonderful idea that was suggested here is the idea of Google for social innovation, Google for social entrepreneurship, which enables individuals to access those resources. And I think really the idea of the Youth Solutions Hub and digital space is to really enable that, but it needs the support of individuals like you to help do it. And of course, the better recognition for the victims of human trafficking and paying attention to those stories and keeping them in mind as a way of better understanding the impact of the work that you're doing. And of course, convening the 1% group, the 1% alliance, if you like, around SDG financing, and to continue to call for capacity. In all of this, I think we've got it all figured out. So now we just got to go out there and make it happen. But I really want to say that these are some of the priorities that we will work for. And some of the ideas here have all been taken note of, and we will continue to look at them. And of course, post this, we will continue the conversations through the various panels who are working on this. And part of the reason is to bring you all together so we could connect and continue the conversation in thematic areas, but also cross-cutting. So we will continue to serve that role of facilitators to bringing this conversation together and working with you to really develop and build out these ideas. I want to take this opportunity to thank Betsy Parker, Dr. Betsy Parker, who unfortunately wasn't here, but thanks to her generous support, we were able to convene this Vatican Youth Symposium year after year. So a big thank you to Dr. Parker, if you could please give her a round of applause. A huge thank you to the Pontifical Academy of Sciences, Monsignor, and especially the wonderful staff and friends and hosts that we've had here, especially Gabriela for her wonderful work. And I must say, she organized this conference, even though just a couple of days before it was her birthday, and she still put it in there and made it happen. Thank you so much again, Gabriela. And of course, to our wonderful interpreters who had to translate throughout the day. You must be tired, and also putting up with some quick comments and speeches. And thank you, Egan, for slowing down this year. Last year, I think they only caught about 10% of your speech. So it's great improvement. This time it was 50%. And with that, I also want to thank the wonderful SDSN youth team for helping organize this. In particular, I want to thank Amy and Kayla. Amy for doing all the social media and guiding us through that communication process, and of course Kayla for helping really lead and organize this conference. If you could please give them a big round of applause. And of course, a big thank you to all the speakers for coming here and sharing those ideas and really helping us think through another wonderful Vatican Youth Symposium. I look forward to us making progress on these ideas and actually bringing them to life, because that's what we do. And with that, I just want to hand over to Kayla to just wrap up with one final comment.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for coming. It's so nice to finally meet all of you after, months of emailing back and forth. So I'm really happy that you're all here today. I just want to encourage you all to remember to be that type of energy that no matter where you go, no matter where you are, that you're always adding to the spaces in the lives of those around you. And honestly, that's what is not only exemplified by every single one of you in this room, but the core value of this Vatican Youth Symposium. And I want to show you something. If you take this look at the screen, this is Greta last year, sitting alone, by herself, at the Swedish Parliament. So now, I want you to think about what you've said in here, what we've said in here, together, and focus on how you're going to implement that now. What are you going to do? by yourself and together. And I'm going to just leave you with this. Take time to deliberate, but when the time for action comes, stop thinking and go in.
Yep. And with that, I call the 2019 session of the Vatican Youth Symposium closed. Enjoy dinner. Thank you.
We have to say thanks to Sam for